Okay, so let's dive into impact, right? So everything we do, right, when we first go out into a crisis and we start analyzing it, figuring out what's the best thing to do, doing our design, our implementation, it's all about impact, right? So when it comes to problems, is talking about impact, right? And because people seem to think of it as this complicated thing that is hard to measure, right? Because we're talking about it from the perspective of measuring it for the paper, the proposal, the log frames, the indicators, rather than thinking about impact in its true meaning, in my opinion, which is change. So everything we do is to bring about beneficial change for the groups of population that we have selected to help, right? So when we go into a humanitarian situation at a given point of a crisis, the population we're looking at will be in different situations, right? Because nobody's ever in the same situation, but there will be commonalities, of course. And our job as humanitarians and a humanitarian intervention is to transform their situation into something better. And that's impact. That transformational product is the impact, right? So if I have a population who have no water and I bring water, the bringing of water, if it improves their situation, is the impact that I am, the change, no water to water. Unsafe drinking water to drinking water, safe drinking water, okay? So we're bringing about change. So when we think about impact in the sense of change and beneficial change, then it's easier, right? Because we have to think beyond the paper, frankly, yeah? Another important thing about impact is to not think of it as kind of a binary thing. Yeah, there's impact or there's no impact. No. It's better to think of it as degrees of impact, right? As impact along a scale or a continuum, right? Because you can have low impact, you can have medium impact, and you can have high impact, and you can have good impact, and you can have bad impact, right? Positive impact, negative impact, beneficial, harmful, right? So impact is more than a word, yeah? If we think of it like that. So, and also, as I said before, when we're looking at a population, the same way no groups of people's situation exactly the same, right? Neither is impact exactly the same for everybody within your population target group. Yeah, people will receive different amounts, let's say, of the impact you generate. And some people receive negative amounts of whatever you're doing, yeah? And some people receive more beneficial. So we have to be very sensitive to, okay, is there when we analyze impact, is there a specific group of people who are receiving much more beneficial impact than others? Because then your job is to even it up a bit, right? You don't want, say, of a population of 50,000, 25,000 people to receiving high impact from your services and the other 50% of the people to receiving low to medium, right? So we have to look at it very broadly and analyze different groups to how the beneficial impact or the beneficial changes you're trying to generate are being received. And also, as I've said, the flip side of impact, which is the negative or the not so beneficial, the harmful even at times impact, we also have to be looking at that because we're trying to maximize the beneficial changes and minimize the negative changes that come about from simply being there, right? So the problem is that when we have these paper implementations, which have, your objective, your specific objectives, your activities and your indicators, yeah, the indicators, and I'll talk about this in the next video when we talk about measuring impact, the indicators are more attached to the activities rather than the actual real impact that you manage to generate through your implementation. And an example of that would be, for example, if I am building things, for example, or constructing things like water points, maybe in my paper I must construct 15 water points, okay? But then it's not enough. That's not impact by itself. The use of those water points is the actual impact. how many people use them, how easy it is to use them, because I could construct 15 water points and then leave the area, and then somebody comes along with a padlock and starts charging people money to use those same water points that were supposed to be free and run by a water committee, etc., etc. Or the water points were put in the wrong places and only certain segments of population can access them because for others they're too far or too dangerous to get to, or some segments of the population are discriminated against and not given access, or which is very common, the lines, the waiting times are too long, so people can't go because they don't have time to be away from their children, their fields, or whatever, to stand in a line for several hours to get water. Or maybe there's a technical problem with the water point and there's no spare parts and they can't fix it, and then it falls into disuse quickly. Yeah. So then, if that happens across some of my water points, the impact is each time lower. The beneficial change that I was trying to bring, more safe drinking water, is lower and lower and lower. So if I'm not analyzing the situation after, then how am I supposed to understand if I have generated the maximum amount of beneficial change that I wanted to? Same goes for running clinics or family planning. Yeah, if nobody comes, or few people come, or only the people closest to your facilities come, then your impact will be diluted, right? And will be only for the favored few. So then you have to, from an implementation strategy perspective, make changes and adjustments to make sure that your beneficial impact light shines on more people, right? Because that's the point. It's not just about bringing impact to those few. So in big towns, for example, where sometimes hospitals are managed, sometimes those who benefit most are the people who are in the towns directly because they have the hospital right there, whereas people further away who are probably more in need will benefit less. So you have to be able to readjust and compensate for those differences in how people are going to receive the impact of your services. Yeah. So that it's important to understand it in degrees and to not look at a population as a homogeneous block of people whose every situation is the same. It's not, and who will all receive the benefit the same way. And then when you're the same way you're analysing what beneficial impact am I generating, what beneficial changes am I generating for who, I have to check what negative or potentially harmful changes I'm generating and for who as well, because sometimes we do that, and that can come from, okay, I'm bringing a lot of resources into a resource shortage area, therefore jobs, who I give jobs to and who I don't, has an impact. Who I give contracts to and who I don't, who I buy from and who I don't, who I rent cars from and who don't, etc. And we have to be particularly careful when there are discriminated or stigmatized populations within our population group to make sure that they do not receive less beneficial impact than others because they are being blocked or denied access for whatever reason we are not aware of those problems. So that's also very important. So impact is very important. The problem is that we spend a lot of time, or teams spend a lot of time, managers spend a lot of time putting out fires, firefighting, resolving implementation problems without stepping back and analysing, okay, where are these problems coming from? Are they coming from my design problems? Are they coming from the contextual realities that have changed, or I didn't analyse, or they weren't analysed correctly? Where are they coming from? Yeah, because a program manager needs to take distance and analyse the problems, because the problems are clues to things that are going to affect my implementation feasibility. Therefore, I need to design my implementation strategy, harness my implementation capacity to resolve these things, to ensure that always I'm generating the maximum beneficial amount of change possible, right? So the manager's job is not to be swept along in the problem-solving dynamics of the day-to-day, but to step back and analyze, okay, these are the problems, these are the blockages, these are the delays, internal, external, that are affecting my impact. Always connecting to design and impact, because implementation of an intervention is simply the execution of the design. And remember what I always say, your design will be flawed, your design will have problems, and it's the implementation that is testing your design. It's the execution, so it's the implementation problems that are going to indicate what problems you have with the design, what problems are coming from the context, and how you should design your implementation strategy to resolve those issues. It's not just about getting things done, it's about the impact. It's all about the impact.